and I can safely say that I've been an integral part of this. I don't know how many I've done out of these 15, and it has always been a great pleasure. So, welcome aboard. Today, we've got three wonderful alumni with us. I'm just waiting for Humayun to join in till I talk about them. Um, I would like them to introduce them. There he is. Hi, Humayun. How are you? Welcome aboard.
Thank you. Sorry, my Zoom was not working properly.
There's a bit of an echo, so if you could correct that.
Let
Are
me
you
read.
logged in on your phone as well?
No, I'm not logging from my phone.
All
I know
right.
exactly what's happening. I'll rejoin the meeting.
There's a bit of a resonance and there is a bit of an echo. All right. So, welcome everyone to Alumni Connect. And today I'm going to ask my three wonderful participants, my wonderful alumni. I've had the pleasure of teaching them as well. Arooj Justin, Rabia Noor Kadir, and Humayun, who I think has disappeared again. Okay, no worries. Technology is there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to ask you. There he is, Humayun Ansari, right? So Rabia, Arooj, and Humayun, I would like you to introduce yourselves and let us know what you're doing. A little brief background about yourselves, currently what is going on, and then I'll start off with the questions. So, Rabia, we'll begin with you. So, would you like to tell everyone about yourself?
Hi, Assalamu alaikum, everyone. So, I just recently graduated from the MPhil degree in the 2024 batch. And right now, I am working at CERP as a senior associate. And I'm working in their Learning Hub department, which is basically their training and development and capacity building department. And the main thing that I'm doing over here is designing curriculum for trainings that CERP offers and designing the whole kind of learning experience that goes into these trainings and creating the instructional materials and the knowledge products that go into these trainings. So that's basically my
Your
small introduction. Yeah.
introduction, wonderful. And Rabia has also worked with me in training.
Yeah.
So, uh, add that on as well, Ghazi and myself. Right. Thank you. And Arooj, over to you.
Ji, ma'am. Ma'am, thank you very much, and Assalamu alaikum to everyone who have joined us. And again, it's a pleasure to be with the Lums family. So, Arooj Justin here, and I've done my executive MPhil from Lums. Lums join करने से जब मैंने Lums join किया था, at that time I was a part of the Forman Christian College as a full-time faculty. I also held a leadership role there, and I was a chief proctor as well, so involved in the administration. Being a chief proctor, I was overseeing the security, well-being, and discipline of a student body of almost 3,500 students. And so academia में था, teaching एक गोल था, प्रोफेशन था, शौक था, तो ख्वाहिश थी कि I have to be a better teacher, and that is what really brought me to Lums. And from there, doors opened. And right now, I'm doing my PhD at the West Virginia University in America. I've just started. I've slightly more than 2 months in the States, and life seems to be doing good. Life seems to be doing good. So for achieving this accomplishment of life, I have like to thank a lot to Lums, and I give a lot of credit to what Lums has done to me and made me.
Thank you, Arooj, and congratulations. Thank you. Humayun.
Assalamu alaikum, everyone. It is good to be back. First of all, I'm really sorry I was having some technological difficulties due to which I was not able to join on time. But I'm happy to be here. Just a quick introduction. I graduated from School of Education back in 2021. I mean, I was always wanted to work in the education sector. So I was working in education sector ever since I got my undergraduate degree. That was back in 2014, and that was also from Lums. After graduating from School of Education, I worked with the Cedar School as a learning development manager for about 1.5 years. And right now, I am currently working with Beaconhouse as the regional manager for their A-level program. And I'm looking after all the A-level campuses that they have in the provinces of Sindh and Balochistan. And within that, I have about 7 school heads who are reporting to me, and I have about 2,500 students I'm responsible for. I am basically looking after their overall experience. I need to basically ensure that they end up in good universities. But besides that, I'm also looking after the commercial aspect of the program. So I look after the marketing, do a lot of target setting, and work with the head office, which is situated in Lahore. So overall, that's what I have been doing after graduating from the School of Education at Lumps.
Thank you. Thank you, Humayun. Right. So coming back to the three of you, Rabia, I'd begin with you. You're working at a CERP in training and development. You worked with us as well while you were doing your MPhil. So when you started your career, what exactly did you have in mind? Where did you want to be? And can you talk a little about that journey and that trajectory?
Yeah, so what I wanted to do is basically design better or design good learning experiences for people. And it slowly and gradually kind of matured into this idea that I want to go into adult education and I want to do trainings and I want to design trainings, whether that be in like the teacher training kind of scenarios, or whether that be in the kind of trainings that I'm doing right now, the capacity building of professionals and practitioners working in the real world. But I think it all started from me becoming a curriculum developer by mistake. I applied for a job, and turns out that I found my passion over there very accidentally. And then I taught a little, and then I trained a little, and then I started designing trainings. And then MPhil happened, and then during MPhil, I was working throughout. I was working with LLI as well. I was working with UN Ghazi, and I have managed to, alhamdulillah, design a lot of trainings. I've delivered a few as well, which is something that I want to go into in the future, like delivering more trainings. But for now, it's mostly been focused on designing trainings. And
So where do you see yourself from here, a few years from now?
right. So CERP has actually been a very different kind of an experience, because mostly what I've been doing is educational landscape के अंदर trainings करना. So now I am branching out and seeing what other trainings are there that can be done. And like throughout all of this, the experience that I'm gaining, I feel, is more related to adult education. And what I hope is that this experience, as well as my previous experiences, um, takes me towards um, what is I think being called educational development, which is basically like designing better learning experiences for higher education and helping other people design better learning experiences for people in higher education. So that's the goal. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you. Arooj, so since now you've firmly settled yourself in a PhD program, and obviously it's just the beginning, so you're just getting the hang of it. How do you, how would you relate you were already working when you joined the MPhil program, so that you already had a career, and now that you've taken this turn and you've come towards studying more and researching more, so what is that transition like?
Ma'am, there are two two parts to it. Obviously, change is never easy and simple, especially when you have to leave one country and you have to go to a very different part of the world. And especially joining a PhD program, it's like a massive leap forward academically and in terms of doing research. So I think there is a part of it where I would say that yes, it has a good share of its own challenges. But then again, I would say that one thing which I had at the back of my mind from the start, pretty much from the start, even when I was coming to Lums to the SOE, was that I want to do a PhD because I knew it very clearly that for my own growth and to really excel in my career, PhD is the way forward, and I had that passion on the inside of me. So. Uh, so there was that clarity, there was that passion, there was that excitement to really push myself in that direction, and that motivation then just takes the burden off your shoulders in a way. So but then again, my working experience, because I taught almost for 10 years at Forman Christian College before coming to America, and then that coupled with the 2 years at Lumps, they have really made me sharp enough to have the tools and the set of skills that is required by a student who may want to actually embark on a journey of PhD in any part of the world. So that has
Uh,
because had that
Arooj, would you like to name those a few of those skills or tools that you mentioned that you gained during the MPhil experience?
yes, definitely. So I think being at Lums, it has helped me become a critical thinker.
Mm.
And then the practical academic research skills that have been instilled in us, they have been very helpful. For example, I will just give one example, and I hope to those who are watching it, they may really find it helpful if they have plans of applying for the PhD. मेरे जो कैप्स्टोन की जो थीसिस थी, मैंने उसी की थीम को लेके आगे अपना प्रपोजल टू माय सुपरवाइजर्स पिच किया था. So I was basically working as a part of my capstone project on the well-being of students at one of the schools in Lahore. And then I just picked up the same theme, and then I just dovetailed it in one of my passions, okay, science education, STEM education. And I pitched them to the supervisors, and thankfully, thank God, one of the supervisors liked it. It clicked with him. It was right up his lane, and he was more than happy to give me position. So that is how it has helped me. One more thing that is very unique with being at Lums is the power of networking, the power of leverage. And that is something which I cherish. I think as a class, as a group, I think we all came from diverse professional backgrounds. We all brought different talents to the table. And when we sat together, there was that sense of networking, not just among our own selves, but that network also enabled us to connect beyond the classroom as well. So, as a student at Lums and then as a worker at Forman Christian College, मेरा जो mind का scope था that broadened significantly. Last but not least, I think being at Lums has made me a lifelong learner. We are so very grateful for the faculty that has taught us selflessly. I owe a lot to them. But then again, as we left Lumps, I strongly feel कि उनकी मेहनत और उनकी कोशिशों ने हमें इस काबिल बना दिया है कि on our own, as and when we want to learn, we want to do research, we want to write something, we want to write an op-ed or an article, we now have the skills to live the rest of our lives as a lifelong learner.
I would take this opportunity to thank you on my behalf as well as the faculty's behalf that you've used such kind words for us. Great. So this is what I was looking for. How did this MPhil, help you attain this goal that you had in mind? And that it's a really good example that you've given, that you actually forwarded your capstone, or you developed it further. It fed into your PhD, which is a great way, so it's, as you say, it's lifelong learning, and it goes to benefit others as well. Thank you so much for that. Humayun, coming to you, the Beaconhouse careers in, or working towards the development of students. When you started off with your career, where did you see yourself?
So
Or
I
what
will
did you
take.
aspire to do?
All right. So, unlike a lot of my batchmates from Lums back in undergrad, I knew that I did not want to work in the corporate sector. Although I did get a lot of opportunities, but when I was in high school, I used to do a lot of volunteer work, and I knew that that development sector, and particularly education sector, is that sector where I wanted to end up. So, I mean, from the get-go, I just started working in the education industry. So, for a few years, I worked with different NGOs. Those NGOs were geared towards education only. But then I started working in a school setting with the Cedar College. उसके बाद ये कि the experience was really rewarding in the sense that I got to work in a new school setup, but I felt that I did not have those skill sets to basically further progress in my career. That's where Education Leadership Management program at SOE came into play because it provided me with all the skill sets. For example, I got to learn how to, very basic things as to, how to, make rubrics, how to, come up with evaluation forms, how learning actually takes place. I have to also thank Dr. Tayyeba for teaching us a lot of theoretical frameworks that shape your perspectives about, how and what kind of school of education and a school of thought you want to belong to. So that, and after doing my ELM, I started working with the Cedar School. The role was of learning development manager, and I felt that that role was allowing me to apply whatever I had learned at the School of Education at Lums. I got to, pitch a lot of policies. I used to bring in concepts using constructivist theory, a lot of ideas from IB stream that I did not know about, and I might not have learned about had I not joined School of Education. So all in all, I think the experience was great, and it really helped me with you know, with my overall progression in my career in the education industry in Pakistan.
Thank you, Humayun. Thank you very much. Rabia,
Yeah.
coming back to you, as you said, you got into this by default, by curriculum design and all, and then you ended up realizing that you need to develop work in training and development, and in particular, teaching of adults. So, how did the MPhil program provide a platform or give you the necessary skills or capabilities or the impetus to do what you're doing now? What role did the MPhil program play?
So, I think a lot of things, but I would like to focus on two, three major things that I believe were very, very helpful for me. The number one most important thing being that I was always someone who ran from research. And if I ever had to do it, which you have to in your professional life, especially if you're working in curriculum, um, I would do it like thodi upar se kind of research. So this degree really helped me, one, hone that skill, and two, recognize the importance and value of doing good research before doing anything. So whether that be, writing a paper for your assignments, or whether that be designing an actual training program that's going to be implemented, that people are going to be attending. So doing research in the right way, recognizing what are the things that you should be focusing on, what are things that you can kind of let go, what are notes, taking notes during like readings ke duran, what are things that will actually be helpful later on, referencing, which I learned from you. And all of these things end up really making you kind of confident in the things that you're pitching as well. So it's not like, आपने खुद ही अपनी तरफ से बना के कोई चीज़ दे दी है. You're able to tell the other person कि हाँ, these are my ideas, but they're based in theory, they're based in literature. And basically the MPhil degree gave me the ability to do that very well. In addition to that, I also would like to mention some very useful courses that I had. So I feel like all the courses helped me learn something for sure. And naturally, some courses help you learn more, some courses help, like, there is a lesser amount of learning that happens, but you do end up learning in all of them. But from the top things that I was able to learn is perhaps this course that I took from Dr. Jessica called Effective Assessment Practices. And it was very focused on K to 12, but um, recognizing that, whatever you do eventually ends up feeding to the assessment that's going to be taken at the end of the day, whether that's in the form of an exam or whether that's in form of anything else, a formative assessment or anything. So सारी चीजें जो आप पढ़ रहे हो तो end पे the learners care about the assessment. So you really have to take that into consideration before designing something. And that's something that's hard to come by in our educational landscape where people are actually thinking of making assessments better. So that's really helped me in designing the trainings that I'm doing. And then just Rabi, I think Humayun mentioned interdisciplinary theoretical perspectives. It's such an important course because you get to meet so many different people in your life and they think in such different ways. And kabhi kabhi you were just thinking, कि यार, like, how are people thinking this way? And then you realize that there's actual theories behind their thought processes. There's actual way in literature that you can find to understand where they're coming from, and just recognizing that and then sort of designing your learning experiences that you're designing around that, and ensuring that you are catering to different kinds of people who will be present during your training. So that's really empowering as well, and it makes for better learning experiences that you get to design. So I think for me, those would be like some of the top learnings from this degree.
And I'm sure this would be your advice to the students who are currently enrolled in these programs, in this program. That this is how they can think, this is how they can,
Yeah,
benefit from this. Arooj,
absolutely.
thank you. Arooj, since you're doing a PhD and then obviously the ELM program and the research-heavy content, which is an important part of any MPhil program. So how do you think the students who are currently enrolled in this program should benefit from that? What should they do? How should they think? How should they exploit or use this facility of research and the research methodology and the research heavy program? How do you think that can benefit them? Or how do you think they can
जी
get
uh,
benefit?
जी ma'am, thank you. Ma'am, I would talk more in the context of my own PhD experience, if that is fine. So, because PhD may, if anyone is interested in seeking admission in the PhD, उसका सारा जो दारोमदार होता है वो कैंडिडेट के जो प्रीवियस जो रिसर्च बैकग्राउंड या एक्सपीरियंस होता है उस पे होता है. So जो potential supervisors होते हैं, जो advisor होते हैं, even in the context of securing the funding, they are really interested in knowing के मतलब what kind of research background we have. And that is why I think those who are at Lumps, they should be really grateful कि जो capstone है, it gives us that opportunity कि हम अपने research portfolio को बेहतर करें. So the more we invest into it as students, wholeheartedly, अपना टाइम इसमें बेहतर लगाएं, जितनी उसकी क्वालिटी को बेहतर किया जा सकता है, that research will eventually become a part of our portfolio on the CV and as well as on the personal statement. And then again, I would really encourage students, if the students have joined us in this session, कि ट्राई कि आपके वहां से कोई जो आर्टिकल है वो किसी जर्नल में जाए, so that the advisor can see what is it that you have accomplished. If you have an opportunity to speak at a conference, make the most of it. जितना भी काम किया है, जितनी भी research की है, if you can share it at a conference, go for it. All these things will make your case of securing a PhD very strong. Minus this, जो probability है वो significantly कम हो जाती है, because when the advisor is looking for a candidate, he is looking for two things. Number one, कि candidate का जो research interest है वो उसके research interest के साथ align हो. Number two, what kind of a previous research experience or background the candidate has. अब they are very open, and many times they will be very considerate if the experience or the research background is somewhat shallow. But nonetheless, there needs to be some proof that the student is familiar with the research practices. So my recommendation is, and I believe this very strongly, ये तब पता नहीं लगता मैम जब हम student होते हैं and we are going through that tough exercise, and our supervisors are what we think is giving us a tough time. Because I remember, and I just shared this with a lot of ease, okay, my capstone took a little longer to complete as compared to my batchmates, because उसमें कुछ कमियां रह गई थी. And when I was going through that experience along with my group, we were very upset because time ज़्यादा लग रहा था. We all had full-time jobs and responsibilities. Unfortunately, things were not looking good. But I now look back, and in a way, I'm grateful to my supervisor and thankful to the Lord that experience improved the quality of the research work as well as our research skills. So मेरा जो मशवरा कैंडिडेट्स को है, स्टूडेंट्स को है, कि वो जो एक्सरसाइज है उसमें आपने होल हार्टेड रहना है. यू हैव टू बी स्टडी, फॉलो द लीड ऑफ द एडवाइजर. जितनी रिसर्च की क्वालिटी को बेहतर किया जा सकता है, जितना मेथोडोलॉजी को बेहतर किया जा सकता है, उतना आपका पोर्टफोलियो बेहतर होगा. एकेडमिक फ्रंट पर भी आपको फायदा होगा, और ऑन द अदर हैंड professionally be there will be a lot that you would be able to contribute to your work environment.
Thank you, Arooj. Humayun, Arooj just told us about the benefits of, or how to exploit the research that you have to do in this program. Rabia has talked to us about the critical thinking and the way you develop the other capabilities and explore your potential. So what kind of advice would you like to give to the current students? How do you think they can benefit from this program, and what should they do to maximize that benefit?
All right. One great thing about School of Education is that they give you this opportunity to enroll in different kind of courses. So I recommend that you make use of that opportunity and try to diversify your transcript as much as you can, because you don't know what path you would want to take 2, 3 years down the lane. So if you are someone who is into, quantitative research, I know there will be multiple courses within that stream, but I would recommend that you take some courses from qualitative research as well. Um, because at the end of the day, it depends how versatile you are as a candidate. Because, just like Arooj, if you want to apply abroad for PhD, you will be able to do that. If your interests change, and then आप उसमें से किसी फील्ड के अंदर अपना कर सकते हैं. Um, One good advice that our instructors gave us when we were doing SOE, and I kept it with me, and it really helped me, was that there will be certain courses that you will be enrolled in by force. I think those are called core courses. I don't know the exact term for it anymore, but even if you don't want to, pursue your career in that, still learn, because you don't know when you will be utilizing those skill set in your future. For example, I preferred qualitative research methods over quantitative research methods, but to date, I am still using some of the course concepts that I learned. Abhi recently, I launched this focus group project with schools, based on which, we are going to develop our program overall in the South region for A level. But my peers, my colleagues, they did not have that skill set to know exactly how to, draft questions. They kept saying we should ask leading questions. We should ask leading questions. I was like, no, you're not supposed to ask leading questions, because as a researcher, you need to have, थोड़ा सा authentic questions, open-ended questions. So that's one thing I would say to you. दूसरा ये कि try to build connections, because another great thing about SOE is that you have people coming from all over Pakistan, from varied backgrounds. So try to learn from them. And at the same time, SOE will be providing a lot of opportunities. I was one of those fortunate students who was able to publish with my professors. Again, thanks to Dr. Tayyaba for that and Dr. Bari for that. Make use of those opportunities. Um, not every opportunity will come to you. At times, you might have to fight for it, but make use of this experience as much as you can.
Thank you. I hope you're all listening in, students, everyone here. We're going to open the forum for questions a little later. Let's come to the close of this. The last thing that I need to talk about. You guys have talked about a great experience that you had at SOE, and you've experienced the whole thing. Sabah, yes, we'll come to the questions towards the end. So, what kind of advice would you like to give to SOE, looking back in retrospect, all the time that you've spent, everything that you've experienced? So we'll start from you, Arooj. Now, since that you're right now in the US and you're in a different stream, in a different situation and a different context. So looking back, what kind of advice would you like to give SOE?
Ma'am, to the students?
To basically the program or the otherwise the school first, and then yes to the
Okay,
students.
ma'am, I think the school is I think is moving in the right direction. And again, whatever I've achieved or Khudawand ke baad, I think a lot of credit I give to the SOE. But I do think that international collaborations, they are always beneficial for the institutions as well as for the students, and that is where there's always room for improvement. So because मैं उस पे ज़्यादा इसलिए थोड़ा सा comment नहीं करना चाहता, because I'm also a work in progress and I'm not an expert. But yes, I can advise my fellow students हैं कि like I've said that one thing, ma'am, I would say, and I think this goes to the credit of SOE. As I sit, as I sit in my classroom with students, and half of my classmates are international students. They are from Africa, they are from Middle East, they are from Central Asia, and from Latin America. Believe you me, ma'am, and again, the credit goes to SOE. Thanks to this, the way the SOE has planned this MPhil program, हमारे skills किसी भी student के caliber से कम नहीं है. So at any stage, I've not felt in the class while I sit with international students and with the American students that I don't have the set of skills because of which I may possibly struggle to compete with the rest of the class. बल्कि अक्सर मौकों पे my understanding, my comprehension, my responses, my feedback was better than the rest of the class.
And how do
So,
you attribute this to or link this to SOE and to the program, Arooj?
ma'am, first of all, SOE के जो courses थे, they were at par with the international standards. उसके जो contents थे, वो अभी यहाँ पे जो कुछ हमें पढ़ाया जा रहा है, because I'm still doing the coursework. अमेरिका में पहले 2 साल आपके strictly coursework के होते हैं. A lot of them were connected with the courses which we studied. So
Okay.
for me, they were not like foreign concepts. While for some of the students who are with me, it proved to be somewhat of a struggle. So, so I sense this, the program, the way the program has been has been planned and designed at SOE, it is at par with the international students. It does give us enough skills, or probably more than that, depending upon the input we are willing to make towards the program, to actually like give us the skills to compete at the international level. So that is what I sense about the program. और स्टूडेंट्स के लिए मैम वही वाली बात है कि जितना अपनी रिसर्च क्वालिटी को और रिसर्च स्किल्स को बेहतर किया जा सकता है, बिकॉज आई एम टॉकिंग मोर इन द कॉन्टेक्स्ट ऑफ पीएचडी, तो उतना आपके लिए बेहतर हो. एंड देन अगेन lastly I would just say कि enjoy the experience, make the most of the experience. Let this not be a burden the learning experience can be enjoyed and it should be enjoyed, because before you know, the 2 years they will be gone, and either you would be excelling in your job or in the academia. But enjoy the experience, enjoy the fellowship, enjoy the company of the faculty, and make friends and leverage that opportunity.
Thank you, Arooj. Now, you've talked about research and the importance of it in your PhD program and how that has helped you transition into this and actually, seamlessly be added to that program without any glitches and much uh, ado. But Rabia, on the other hand, has talked about the importance of research for training and development and for developing content and even for training. So, yes, as Rabia has said, that it authenticates the work that you're doing. So it's not just only research work is not only for a PhD program, it's for any kind of career opportunities that you want to avail as you progress in life. So Rabia, what would you like to say to the students, and what would you like to advise SOE about, or the program, or anything?
So, I'd like to start with SOE. Um, I'm so thankful to SOE for all the experiences that it gave me, and to Lums overall, because just being at Lums opens up so many opportunities for you. And I feel like, Alhamdulillah, I was able to maximize on a lot of these opportunities that were given to me through SOE and through Lums. And it was it was a wonderful experience. Um, but the one thing that I would like to say is that the practicum is one of the it's brilliant, right? Like you actually get to go to the field and practice what you want to practice, um, and interact with people over there. But the only thing that's at stake is your grade. Uh, so it's a very good learning experience. But um, sometimes a lot of people at SOE do not end up getting the projects that they would see themselves working in after graduating, or like the whether that be in like a smaller kind of a thing, like they want to work in NGO sector maybe, and they've been given a school, or sometimes in bigger contexts where they want to work in higher education, but they've been given a primary school and an early childhood education landscape. So just want to highlight that I know that there is a limitation to this, that market में जो projects available होंगे वही projects ज़ाहिर है हम लोगों तक पहुंचेंगे. But and a lot of people end up getting great projects that are very much aligned with what they want to do. But sometimes people don't get that. And something similar happened to me, but Alhamdulillah, with the help of my supervisor helped me a lot in this aspect. I was able to kind of edit our project in a way कि मुझे जो चीज़ें चाहिए थी through it, I was able to get that. But it still sort of hindered my ability to put this in my CV. This is what I wanted to do and this is what I got to do. So just like this advice to SOA, students need to, like, students should have the choice to perhaps say no to a project and go to, like, maybe like shift it around a little, maybe like tweak it in a way that they're able to get the kind of learning that they want to get. But obviously, like, while saying that as well, I want to highlight it for all the students, especially those people who have started their practicums right now or will be doing their practicums in the next year, that even if you get a project that's not something that you want to do, and in courses as well. So this is my advice to the students as well. Okay, like whether you get a practicum that's not up to what you want it to be, or if you get a course that's not what you want it to be, the only thing that should matter is you doing your best to make sure that you're learning from it, because the learning will be there. You just have to look for it. You will learn if you're willing to learn. So don't waste the opportunity, whatever that might be. If you're at SOA, if you've been given the chance to be in this MPhil program, you can learn so much. just by as my fellow alumni also said, like, just by talking to instructors, just by being in core courses that you might not want to be a part of, doing qualitative when you are a quant person, all of these things will add up so much to your profile. So don't give up on that opportunity just because that's not something that you want to do.
Thank you, Rabia. Thank you so much. Before I move on to Humayun, I have a request from Sabah Sajid, who has to leave earlier, and she has a question. So, Sabah, are you ready to ask your question?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you so much.
You're
So
welcome.
I have a question from three of you. So I have a project and that is of 5 years. So I want to open my STEAM school project at K to 5 in an underprivileged area. And meanwhile, I also want to do community empowerment because we have studied and the literature also proves that community involvement matters a lot for student learning outcomes and especially for STEAM type projects. So basically it will be a community an entrepreneurship project, a business project, but it also could be a source to fund the school. So what I am planning after my degree, I am just going to start on it in my area, in my village, and also I would like to work in an international organization in nearby city. But that's my actually plan. So what do you suggest? Because I also think that I maybe need some extra support. So if I go abroad for PhD, maybe I can get more support. And because I have heard if you go there and then you can come back to the Pakistan for your kind of practical project, because it's a practical project. So I don't know what to choose because this PhD kind of thing again and again comes into my mind. And then I think, no, just I have to work on my projects and then I have to think about PhD later. But still, it's a 5-year project. Please help me or give some insight so that it can help me further to think more clearly. Thank you so much.
Right. So this question is open to any one of you, whoever would like to answer.
All right, I will, if it is fine with Rabia and Humayun.
Yeah,
Okay,
yes. Go
okay,
ahead, please.
okay, Sabah, thank you for the question. From what I've understood, I will try to actually summarize my answer because time is also short. पहली चीज तो सबा ये है कि मतलब you really need to have a very honest conversation with your own self. You really need to search your heart because you have talked about a couple of things. आपने PhD की भी बात की है, then you have talked about an entrepreneurial passion as well, and obviously you have a career as well in the midst of it. So you really need to search your heart. One of the things which we all learn in life, and I'm pretty sure we all can testify to it, there needs to be some sort of a clarity as we run towards our goals. जितनी clarity बेहतर होगी उतनी मंजिल की तरफ जाना आसान होता है. Because if you are thinking about launching your entrepreneurial passions, obviously it's a full-time job. You can't do it half-heartedly. At the same time, agar PhD aapne karni hai, and like you've mentioned that you want to do it from abroad, then again you would have to put all these things on one side and you would have to embark on a very different journey. Just I mean, start mein bhi kaha tha, it has its benefit, but at the same time it has certain challenges as well. So the only thing which I can say to you is search your heart again, and just see what is it that is close to your heart and your passion, and over a short term and long term कौन सा फैसला आपको ज्यादा benefit देगा and which will act as a catalyst for your other passions. If you think PhD is that route, okay, if you go and do your PhD, you come back after 5 years with a doctorate and better connections, and then you may be better positioned to launch your entrepreneurial passions. So then obviously your options and your choices and your actions will change. So
Arooj,
will come back.
Arooj, there's a request from Afsha, and she's asked you to give a few guidelines on how to, pursue a PhD or how to enroll or, apply for one. And then we
Again,
have questions from Bilal and Alishma, right?
okay,
Ji.
okay. So, ma'am, I'll briefly summarize my experience, and I hope that helps those who have been seeking the information. So PhD में एक चीज बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है जहाँ से आपने स्टार्ट करना है, वो होती है टाइमलाइन, कि आपने किस स्टेज पे एप्लीकेशंस सबमिट करना स्टार्ट करनी है. ठीक है. सो नॉर्मली आई विल बी टॉकिंग अबाउट प्रोसेस इन अमेरिका. उनकी दो एडमिशंस की इनटेक होती है. एक एक एडमिशन उनका प्रोसेस स्टार्ट होता है जो कि फॉल इनटेक होती है. ठीक है. The academic cycle starts in August, and the other is the spring intake where the academic cycle starts in March या April में start होता है. Most of the PhD funding opportunities जो होती हैं, they are for the fall admission intake. जो fall की intake होती है उसके लिए admission जब आप करते हैं तो उसमें funding की opportunities mostly ज़्यादा होती हैं. And वो from what I've heard कि उस time पे visa secure करना भी बेहतर, उसकी opportunities भी बेहतर होती हैं. So I started my admission process like submitting my applications in the month of June. मैंने जून में start की थी, and I was targeting for the fall next year. मतलब मैंने जून 23 में अपनी एप्लीकेशन प्रोसेस स्टार्ट की थी, एंड आई वाज एमिंग टू गेट इनटू एन एकेडमिक प्रोग्राम दैट विल स्टार्ट इन अगस्त 24. तो इस टाइम पे आपने आपने अपना एडमिशन प्रोसेस स्टार्ट करना होता है. दैट इज जस्ट द राइट टाइम. अब करना क्या है, द फर्स्ट थिंग इज वही वाली बात है कि यू नीड टू आइडेंटिफाई कि आपका रिसर्च इंटरेस्ट क्या है, आपका पैशन क्या है. बहुत अच्छी बात होगी कि अगर वो आपके रिसर्च एक्सपीरियंस के साथ लिंक होगा. देन बेस्ड ऑन दैट यू नीड टू सर्च फॉर द पोटेंशियल एडवाइजर्स who are working in the same discipline. It can be in America, it can be in Europe, it can be in any other part of the world. And prior to submitting your applications, you start contacting those supervisors. This तरह you start sending them the emails, cold emails आप कह लें. You start requesting us for a Zoom meeting, and most of the time it is a very long exercise which requires a lot of patience, because many of them will not get back to you, and in the midst of the process you sort of like feel like losing hope. Lekin keep doing it, keep doing it, keep doing it. Eventually, someone will get back to you. And when they get back to you, request a Zoom meeting and share your passions and present yourself, sell yourself professionally to them. And once you have clicked with them, then you start applying for the admission, जो कि एक proper application form होता है. It is a very simple application form. कुछ उसमें complicated information नहीं मांगते. Most of the universities in America, they do not even require GRE. उनको GRE भी required नहीं है. I almost applied to 20 universities and none of them were asking for GRE. English का proficiency language test का score मांगेंगे आपसे, and then you apply there. You would need some money because all American universities for their application process, they have an application processing fee, और वो dollars में है, and rupee और dollar का फर्क आपको पता है, तो that will obviously hit on your wallet. तो उसके लिए आपको थोड़ा सा अपने आप को financially तैयार रखना है. Sometimes the application processing fee can be as much as $150. So
Okay.
थोड़ा सा आपने अपने आप को उसके लिए तैयार करना है. And then just start submitting your applications, and then uh, eventually someone will get back to you. Funding is always with the university या school या department जहाँ पर आपने apply किया है. मेरे केस में ये था, and this is again very interesting, कि eventually मुझे funding नहीं मिली थी and जहाँ पर मैं हूँ. But then I sort of requested them कि मुझे funding चाहिए, and my advisor eventually at that timeline he secured a funding for a project, and he was willing to make me part of that project, and from there the funding came for my PhD. So this is how things work. फिर जो PhD होती है उसमें the students have an opportunity to work as a TA, the teaching assistant, or as a GA, the graduate assistant. लेकिन TA और ग्रेजुएट असिस्टेंट की भी एप्लीकेशन की डेडलाइंस होती हैं. सो उसका भी आपको ख्याल रखना है कि जस्ट इन लाइन विद द डेडलाइंस आपको उसकी एप्लीकेशन सबमिट करनी है, एंड दीज आर ऑल वेरी अर्ली डेडलाइंस, and you can only get the information by going and visiting the university's website. So you can start by actually browsing through the universities. America में बेनतहा universities हैं. Do not just target the tier 1 universities. उसकी गलती मत कीजिएगा. ठीक है. और जो स्टेट यूनिवर्सिटीज हैं, जो स्टेट यूनिवर्सिटीज हैं, आप उसको भी टारगेट करना है, and hopefully and eventually doors will open for you.
Thank you. Thank you, Arooj. That was very insightful. So we first have a question from Bilal, then Alishba, and then Hamid. So can you please make it quick? We're a little short on time. Bilal, go ahead, please.
Thank you, Ms. Sania. Yes, I just wanted to ask, speaking of after graduating, what kind of assistance does Love or the Love Placement Office provide in sort of, finding career opportunities or PhD opportunities? And what advice would you have to like get the maximum out of these resources that Love provides? Thank
Who's the question from?
Yeah, I could not understand the question because the voice was a bit distorted.
Sorry, I'm having trouble with the internet. I was asking what sort of supports are provided by the Lums Placement Office or other departments at Lums to help students sort of uh, avail certain career opportunities or to pursue graduate study opportunities outside of Lums, and what is the best way to sort of make the best out of these resources? Is there any advice that you could give based off of your own personal experience?
Anyone
Is it
would like to take this?
okay? So I can start, and then my colleagues can perhaps add. I think one very important thing to do is to make connections when you are at SOE and at LUMS, whether that be with the placement office or whether that be with your instructors, because your instructors will really help you with getting into PhDs, of course. And in my case, I've been talking to my instructors a lot when I've been asking them advice for work. So, what kind of jobs to apply for, what kind of jobs to say yes to and say no to. So I think my instructors have been very helpful in that sense. So one thing that really helped me was staying in touch with them and creating good connections with them. And as for the placement office, so again, it's the same thing. You have to stay in touch with them because Arooj keeps sending emails about obviously job openings and stuff, but also about one-on-one counseling sessions with her, or generally like connecting current students and even alumni with people who are working in the field who can be helpful in like giving advice. So keep up with those emails even after you have graduated, especially if खुदा ना खास्ता like you're looking for a job और उस वक्त नहीं मिल रही है. So one-on-one sessions, of course, are very, very helpful. And then there's the career service office, जो कि is not very focused on the MPhil part, but they're very helpful generally if you reach out to them for a one-on-one meeting. So that's I think that's been my experience. If my other fellow alumni would want to add something.
Yeah, exactly. I would second whatever Rabia just said.
That's good enough. Humayun, if you don't mind, can we take
No, no,
Alishba's question and then
sure.
Hamid's? So, Humayun, you can answer Alishba's question. Alishba, please go ahead.
Thank you so much for this much needed session. I just wanted to ask, अरूज ने काफी holistic वो दे दिया था background कि किस तरह से PhD करने चाहिए थे. Just a specific question कि how to approach the potential advisors, because is there any platform, is there anything how to connect with them and how to approach them?
After Arooj, maybe I can answer this as well, but Arooj, go ahead.
Okay, okay. Thank you, thank you, Humayun. Alishba, it's very simple. आप किसी भी यूनिवर्सिटी के जब आप साइट पे जाएंगे तो उनकी फैकल्टी की वहाँ पर काफी तफसील से इंफॉर्मेशन दी होती है, और उसमें उन्होंने लिखा होता है कि फैकल्टी के रिसर्च के इंटरेस्ट या पैशंस क्या हैं, उनके आर्टिकल्स क्या हैं, एंड व्हाट इज इट दैट दे आर वर्किंग ऑन. तो वहां से आप इंफॉर्मेशन लें, ठीक है, एंड इट हैज टू बी जस्ट अ वेरी सिंपल मींस ऑफ कम्युनिकेशन. एक प्रोफेशनली ड्राफ्टेड ईमेल हो, एंड अगेन उसमें लिखने का अंदाज ये होता है कि यू हैव टू एक्चुअली कम्युनिकेट योर पैशन टू लर्न एंड योर एप्रिसिएशन फॉर देयर रिसर्च वर्क. तो जब आप उनको लिखते हैं तो थोड़ा सा आपने उनको ये कम्युनिकेट करना होता है कि आपने उनकी रिसर्च को देखा है और पढ़ा है, एंड यू हैव सॉर्ट ऑफ लाइक अप्लाइड इट समवेयर, एंड दैट इज व्हाई इट हैज क्लिक्ड विद यू. तो जिसको भी आपने लिखना है, अगेन यू विल गेट द इंफॉर्मेशन फ्रॉम द वेबसाइट ऑफ द यूनिवर्सिटी, लेकिन लिखने से पहले कम से कम उनका एक आध आर्टिकल आप किसी हद तक पढ़ लें, ताकि व्हेन यू राइट टू देम द पर्सन कम्स टू नो कि जी पर्सन इज एक्चुअली इंटरेस्टेड इन माय वर्क, ठीक है। एंड होपफुली वहां से फिर बाकी कम्युनिकेशन के रास्ते जो है वो आपके लिए खुलते रहेंगे। एक और चीज, लास्ट चीज, वेरी क्विकली, लिंक्डइन पे बहुत सारी इंफॉर्मेशन होती है, देयर इज अ लॉट ऑफ इंफॉर्मेशन ऑन लिंक्डइन। सो लिंक्डइन पे यूनिवर्सिटीज के डिपार्टमेंट्स ऑफ एजुकेशन, कॉलेज ऑफ एजुकेशन, स्कूल ऑफ एजुकेशन को फॉलो कीजिए, सुपरवाइजर्स को फॉलो कीजिए, एंड दे themselves many times they will post information with regards to their research project, their passions, the funding, so on and so forth. तो बहुत सी इंफॉर्मेशन आपको वहां से भी मिलेगी।
Thank you. Hamid, it's your turn now.
I just wanted to quickly answer Alishba's question. I know I'm not doing my PhD, but I started my PhD application back in 2022. And I did manage to get some faculty supervisor to supervise my research. So the only thing I would say, Alishba, is that take that email to the potential faculty supervisor very, very seriously, because that's the first time you will be reaching out to them. So make sure that it's professionally written. And then, as Arooj mentioned, you need to uh, show the overlap of their research and what you're passionate about and what you're planning on doing in your PhD.
Thank you, Maya. Hamid, quickly, your question, please.
So I have a short question that getting into a top 100 universities and with a fund from the government in Pakistan, like in my case, the Balistan government is sponsoring, लेकिन आपको एडमिशन पे टॉप 100 में लेना होगा, तो उसके लिए क्या अपॉर्चुनिटीज हैं? क्या हम जा टॉप 100 में इंटर होना इजी है या वो थोड़ा टफ हो जाता है? आई थिंक यू गेट द क्वेश्चन.
Yeah, somewhat. I don't know if Arooj wants to take it, but the thing is that it's not just about the ranking. If you have a good profile, you can get into any good institution. You just need to play your cards right. You need to ensure that the personal statement or the proposal that you're writing is up to the mark. And if you're ticking all the check boxes, I think you can easily get in. It's not that difficult to get into top 10, top 100 universities.
Okay. Great. Thank you very much. I would like to thank you, the three alumni who are here, and the rest of this group of students who have so passionately asked questions and very rightly answered, have been answered as well. Thank you so much for being a part of this. I wish you three all the best in your careers and your PhD and your studies, and I hope you do even better than what you've done. And current students here, I wish you all the best as well. And I thank you. Thank you very much. And I think we'll bring this to a close now. So over to you, Sarah.
Hi, yes. So thank you guys for coming in. Thank you, Sanya, for your support.
Thank you.
And thank you for moderating this session. Thank you everyone for joining. Thank you, Humayun, Rabia, and Arooj.
Thank you.
Thank you so
So
much
goodbye,
for this
everyone.
session. Thank you.
Thank you
Thank you
so
so
much
much
for
for
having
having
us.
us. Thank you,
Goodbye
Sonia. Thank you,
and
Fatima,
best of luck.
Sarah.
Very
Allah
nostalgic, I must say.
Hafiz.
Thank you. Allah Hafiz.
Hafiz.